The story began with a cheerful teenager named Light, who had always dreamt of becoming a successful adventurer to give his family a life of luxury. To achieve this, he left his small village for the city to register at the guild. However, the world was not kind to humans, who were considered the lowest of the 9 races created by the goddess. Light experienced this racism immediately when a beastman adventurer rudely ordered him off the street, forcing Light to apologize even though he wasn't blocking the way. Upon reaching the Adventurers Guild, he registered, and the receptionist informed him that newcomers started at F rank. She asked if he possessed a special gift for his assessment. Light eagerly affirmed and explained his unlimited Gachas ability, stating he could pull items from it. To demonstrate, he summoned the device and activated it. A card for a fork rolled out, and when Light released it, a bent, useless fork materialized on the table. Panicking, he claimed things usually worked better and used his skill several more times, only to summon a rotten apple and moldy bread. The receptionist was convinced he deserved nothing more than his F rank. Light accepted it and asked for immediate work. The receptionist directed him to a bulletin board with easy jobs, but Light grew nervous looking at it. The receptionist realized he was illiterate, a common trait among humans due to low literacy rates. She told him his only options were basic tasks like carrying rocks or gathering wood, which paid very little. Light accepted and after a hard day's work, earned just enough to rent a room. He planned to rely on his gacha for food, remaining confident he could succeed. However, a gang of beastmen had other plans. They deliberately stood in his way so he bumped into them. Their leader, a wolfman, immediately yelled at Light for dirtying his clothes. Before Light could react, the wolfman stole his purse. Light panicked, begging for the money back so he wouldn't be homeless, but the wolfman simply punched him away, stating the coins were payment for laundry. The beastmen left Light lying in a mud puddle. Passers-by told him to sleep in the slums with the rest of the humans. Feeling utterly hopeless, Light was startled when a hand was stretched out to help him. He instinctively took the hand of a pretty elf woman, then recoiled, apologizing for covering her clean hand with mud. The elf, named Sasha, assured him it was fine and that she wouldn't hurt him. Years of discrimination made Light skeptical. To prove her sincerity, Sasha suddenly knelt and hugged him, leaving Light speechless even as people on the road mocked her for stooping so low for a human. Sasha helped Light to his feet. Behind her was a diverse group who introduced themselves as the Concord of Tribes, a party with one member from each of the goddess's 9 races, currently missing a human. The beastman Garu introduced himself first, followed by Sasha, who presented the others, Drago the Dragon Ute, the Demon Diawlo, the Oni Ibero, a Dark Elf, the Dwarf Nano, and the Centaur Santia. Garu explained they had just been looking for a human to complete their party. Another member, Sion, added that their goal was to end racism and create a world of equality. Light found it too good to be true but couldn't pass up the opportunity and gladly joined them. Soon, they began going on adventures, where Light was consistently the weakest link. He frequently needed rescuing from monsters by Drago and Sasha, who warned him that a single hit could kill him. Light apologized for his carelessness, and Sasha would check him for injuries while instructing him to always stay behind them. The rest of the party teased Sasha for being so obsessed with and caring for Light, causing her to blush and claim she only saw him as a party member. Light felt useless, only capable of carrying luggage, but Drago comforted him by saying he made delicious tea, which was good enough. Heartened, Light cheerfully followed the team deeper into a dungeon. They soon entered an open space with only one entry and exit. The party members exchanged looks and agreed it was the perfect place for their plan. Unaware, Light began preparing to brew tea when Drago approached and coldly told him he was being fired from the party. Light couldn't process the statement, asking what he had done to deserve expulsion. Garu told him it was because he didn't do anything. Everyone then began insulting Light and the entire human race, calling him useless and stupid. Even Sasha acted disgusted. Light thought it was a prank, but they retorted that no one had free time to prank worthless trash like him. He asked why they had treated him so nicely until then, and they replied it was all an act. Drago revealed that their superiors had noticed Light's unlimited gacha gift and suspected he could be our maestro. Therefore, they had ordered the Concord of Tribes to keep a close eye on him. Once they determined his gift was worthless and he wasn't a maestro, they received the signal to dispose of him. Sasha expressed the most relief, stating that if Light had been a maestro, she would have had to marry him, a thought that creeped her out. Light didn't understand what maestros meant. Drago said they had told him enough and needed to finish him off before other adventurers arrived. Garu immediately attacked, drawing metal claws and slashing Light's face. Only then did Light realize the mortal danger he was in. In desperation, he ran. The party laughed and gave chase, saying they wouldn't let him escape. Sasha shot an arrow through his leg, dropping him to the ground where he screamed in pain. The racist elves said human screams were like music to their ears. Garu decided to make him scream more and began assaulting him, but Drago told him to stop, as they needed to make the death look like a monster ambush. Garu obeyed and prepared for the killing blow, but Light desperately crawled away. Suddenly, the ground beneath him glowed. He was in a teleportation circle. Drago noticed and yelled at Garu to finish him quickly, but the circle activated first, transporting Light away. However, Light's situation did not improve. The teleportation trap deposited him in a random, dangerous location within the dungeon. He knew any monster that found him would kill him. As he lay there, he remembered his family and wondered what he had done to deserve such betrayal. He reflected on how kindly everyone had treated him before revealing their true, vicious colors. His fury became a reason to survive. He stood up, swearing revenge on those bastards, vowing to tear them apart with his own hands. Before he could curse further, a low growl came from behind him. He turned to find a level 1000 monster glaring at him. He realized he had been teleported to the lowest floor of the dungeon and ironically had a better chance of surviving his party than this beast. As he wondered how to fight, his thoughts turned to his ultimate gacha gift. Deciding to take his chances, he began pressing the gacha button repeatedly. Suddenly, his ordinary device transformed in a way beyond his wildest imagination. A giant magic circle appeared beneath him as the device powered up. As the monster leaped, the gacha roll completed. A level 9099 maid servant appeared and demolished the monster in an instant. The battle was over before Light could blink. The maid, emanating a powerful aura, walked toward him. She knelt, instantly healed his wounds, and explained she couldn't bear to see his smooth skin injured, so she had healed him without permission. Light couldn't believe he was perfectly fine. The maid then asked for his name. He introduced himself as Light, which made her very happy. She pledged by the maid's code of honor to serve him until death. Light, taken aback, said that was fine but asked for her name first. The girl introduced herself as May, the ever-seeking maid, explaining she came from a super-ultra-rare card in his unlimited gacha. Light refused to believe a level 9099 maid came from his worthless gift, so May asked permission to use her appraisal skill on his ability to read its finer details. He granted permission, and May used her skill to discover his abilities were hidden under a powerful concealment spell, invisible to anyone below her level. She told Light his ultimate gacha was far more useful than he thought. The cards it produced depended heavily on the mana density of his location. She revealed there was a rarity class beyond her own super-ultra rarity. May explained the mana density on the surface was poor, but the dungeon's depths were saturated with mana, which allowed her to be summoned. She commended Light's bravery for coming to the depths alone to unleash his gift's full potential. Light corrected her, tearfully explaining he was a loser who couldn't have gotten near the dungeon on his own. He cried as he recounted his party's betrayal, how they had tricked him with promises of an equal world, and swore to get vengeance. May suddenly hugged him, saying that while she couldn't fully understand his pain, she would do whatever he wished, and destroying those who hurt him would not be difficult for her. However, Light told her she couldn't do it, not out of kindness, but because he wanted revenge with his own hands. He admitted it was impossible now due to his weakness. He swore to make them all suffer before killing them. May knelt before him again, pledging to help him grow strong enough for his revenge and stating she believed in his potential. Light could only thank her. Yet, he was not satisfied with just one overpowered ally. Deciding to exploit the high mana environment further, he used his unlimited gacha again, summoning more high-class maids. His goal was to create a kingdom to serve as the base for his grand revenge. 3 years passed since that fateful day. Light now ruled over hundreds of maids from a palace he had built for himself deep in the dungeon. May remained always by his side, as promised. All the maids seemed utterly devoted to him, cheering happily whenever he noticed them. While May chided them to behave, Light left the castle for the local market. At the market, vendors recognized him immediately. One called him over for breakfast, while others complained about snack food shortages in the country. Light promised to deal with the problem, and May assured him she would handle the logistics. Light realized he needed to create a new system, as the population of his realm had increased several-fold over the past 3 years. He asked May about the rest of his legendary summons. May reported that Yuki, the beast tamer, was busy crafting maps of the dungeon area and scouting the forests for trouble. Light thought of the monsters there but knew they were no threat to a genius tamer like her. May continued, saying Ellie the mage was hard at work creating special magic for his grand plan. Light wondered if Ellie could handle the complex spells he had requested. He then asked after Naz, the vampire knight, excellent in close combat but a bit simple otherwise. May replied she had given Naz the job of patrolling the castle grounds to keep her out of trouble. Light didn't mind, as Naz made things more interesting. Soon, they returned to the castle, where Light was called by Jack, the last of his 4 legendary summons. Jack asked if Light was ready for training. May seemed annoyed, telling Jack to address Light as Master. Jack, a self-proclaimed Sigma, ignored her, claiming he didn't believe in such formalities. Light told May it was fine, as he considered Jack an older brother, and said he would go train with him now. In the training ground, they prepared to spar. With a burst of speed, Light rushed Jack, punching him straight in his abs and pushing him back with surprising strength. Jack was pleased, stating any normal adventurer would have died from such a punch, but he could absorb the damage. They clashed again, with Light following up with a barrage of strikes that Jack dodged. Meanwhile, Naz was patrolling the corridors when other maids approached her. They sweet-talked her, saying they felt safe with her on patrol. Overjoyed, Naz fell for their prank when they suggested she check Light's bed chambers for security. Thinking it a terrific idea, Naz headed to the bedroom and tried to open the door just as May emerged from within. Naz asked what May was doing in Light's bedroom while he was training. May blushed, claiming she was cleaning. Naz insisted on checking for danger and, before May could stop her, entered the room. She noticed the bed was ruffled and empty-headedly commented it looked like someone had been sniffing the pillows and rolling around, asking if May had made it like that on purpose. May seized the opportunity, confidently claiming it was her special bed-making style. Naz was impressed and asked to learn, but May refused, calling it a trade secret. Naz then remembered the other maids had a message for May. She handed over a parchment. May read it and realized the maids were revolting against her for monopolizing Light's bedroom cleaning duties. May told Naz not to worry and that she would deal with it, even giving Naz some spare change to keep quiet, which Naz happily accepted. Naz immediately went to the market, looked at food, and finally decided on fluffy pancakes and fresh milk. Happily, she returned to the castle, where she found Yuki on a balcony. She asked if Yuki's forest work was done. Yuki, tired of Naz's antics, showed her the completed map May had wanted. Naz congratulated her and returned to patrol before entering the throne room. Finding it empty, she screamed at the top of her lungs, then jumped on the throne and played with it, accidentally breaking the wing off an angel statue. Scared of May's reaction, she hastily put it back and ran for her life. Back in the training ground, Light and Jack continued sparring until Jack suggested they finish for the day and hit the baths. In the giant bathtub, Jack praised Light for learning skills so quickly, stating he was now strong enough that most dungeon creatures would be child's play, and few on the surface could challenge him. However, Jack warned that some would still try to destroy him at the first chance. Light grew serious, thinking of his betrayal 3 years prior, and vowed he wouldn't be done until he got his revenge. In May's chambers, she summoned the 4 troublesome maids and read their complaint letter back to them, asking what their problem was. Before May, the maids fell silent. They apologized, claiming it was just their way of showing support because they knew May was overworked. May told them not to worry about her work and to focus on their own. She denied their request to clean Light's chamber and punished them by ordering them to clean the long hallway to the throne room by hand. The maids complained it was too long, but May said it would keep them busy while she was out on a mission with Light. Meanwhile, outside, Naz was window shopping, eyeing a gauntlet she couldn't afford. She bumped into Ellie, who asked what she was staring at. Naz pointed at the gauntlet and asked why Ellie was back so soon from overseeing new construction. Ellie replied the construction was going smoothly, so she had sneaked a break. They soon began bickering about who was closer to and more important to Light. Ellie boasted she was directly involved in his revenge plan and recently shared a private cup of tea with him, planning a private dinner next time. Naz claimed she also wanted tea with the master and offered her close combat help if Ellie ever needed it. Ellie smiled, saying she would cash in on that someday. With that, Naz returned to her brainless patrol duty. Back in the castle, the four maids plotted against May, comparing her to a certain infamous German dictator. They wondered if they should snitch on her to Light but thought better of it, fearing her wrath. One realized Light cared for May so much because she was his first summon. Another, a purple-haired maid, noted it took Light 2 months to summon Yuki, meaning he and May were alone together in the dungeons for that time. Consumed by jealousy, they rolled on the floor before deciding to perform voodoo magic, chanting for May to die. Unfortunately for them, May overheard everything and entered, cornering them again. The maids immediately apologized, claiming they were just jealous. May told them to stop fantasizing, revealing that in the 2 months before Yuki's summoning, Light was solely focused on learning magic and martial arts, leaving no time for anything else. This relieved the maid somewhat. May claimed she had returned feeling she'd been too hard on them, but now saw she hadn't been hard enough. She ordered them to clean the throne room as well. At her mercy, the maids had no choice but to obey. While cleaning, the green-haired maid accidentally knocked over the broken angel wing piece Naz had damaged. It fell to the floor, horrifying the maids, who feared May's punishment. The next morning, Light entered the dungeon to find Naz, Ellie, and Yuki waiting. He bid them good morning as Naz and Ellie began bickering. Suddenly, a monster emerged from the shadows, a hellhound. Light froze, trauma from his betrayal resurfacing. His party, however, was enraged that the beast had upset him. Naz ready to chop it up, Ellie asked for permission to eradicate the entire species, and Yuki wondered if she could find hell and push it in. Their collective aura alone sent the monster whimpering away. Light calmed himself and his party, then walked over and gave the retreating monster a pat. He knew that even a joking order from him would lead his summons to genocide. He then turned to them, announcing they were moving to the surface to begin their revenge plan today. On the surface, beast folk bowed to Garu, who had become a local celebrity since betraying Light. People begged him to meet their sisters. He walked with his cronies like a boss until he noticed a human child digging through garbage for food. A huge racist, Garu threw the child away for no reason, telling him to never be seen again if he valued his life. The other beast folk cheered. The cheers died as Garu entered a tavern. He took the best seat and told his cronies to order as much as they wanted, boasting about his wealth. While humans starved outside, his group feasted on huge trays of meat skewers. They praised him for becoming an idol who rose from the gutters. Garu bragged that mastering persuasion and exploiting beast folk's instinct to follow had made him rich. He explained the key was sorting profitable jobs from low-reward ones. One crony asked if the job with the Concord of Tribes 3 years ago had been profitable. Another scolded him for asking. Garu said the federation that hired them had sworn them to secrecy, so he couldn't divulge details. He thought privately that it was the easiest, best-paying job he'd ever taken, just killing one useless human kid. It still bothered him that he didn't know where the portal led, but he believed there was no chance Light had survived. He wondered what the maestro was that the Federation was so obsessed with but felt a shiver, thinking digging deeper could be dangerous. His thoughts were interrupted by a beautiful girl, May, who asked to talk. She asked if he was Garu, leader of the beast folk. He nodded after taking a sip. May lied, saying she was the maid of Master Light, a noble. Garu was shocked, wondering if keeping Light alive would have been more profitable. May continued her lie, saying she had searched for Light for 3 years and all clues led to this country and his last known party. Garu confirmed he was in that party and that Light had been with them. May's eyes welled up as she lied that she heard Light had perished in the dungeons. Garu nodded, claiming it was the truth, Light had met an unfortunate end. May asked if he could take her to the location for closure. Garu rudely asked what was in it for him. To his surprise, May placed a bag with 3 solid gold bars on the table. His cronies were shocked, but Garu controlled his expression, weighing if it was a trap. Deciding one human girl posed no threat, he agreed. Garu and his cronies escorted May deep into the dungeons. Hours later, he asked if she was okay. May looked exhausted but smiled, saying she could walk. Garu thought about his luck, planning to take the gold and assault her over Light's grave. Finally, they entered the cavern where Light was betrayed. Garu lied, saying a monster ambush had caught them off guard, Light was slashed to pieces, and then a teleport trap took him, never to be seen again. May fell to her knees, crying. Garu thought how inferior humans were for not sensing danger. His cronies moved to block the exit as he continued lying about trying to save Light. May's voice changed. She stated only the vilest creatures could mislead a pure-hearted person like Light, bring him here, and betray him. She looked around, knowing that if she had been summoned earlier, he would never have been kicked, shot, and beaten nearly to death. Garu immediately felt threatened and jumped back, demanding to know how she knew these details. His cronies were confused. Garu knew only his party and some elites knew the truth. He demanded to know who she worked for, calling her a spy. May scoffed, saying she worked only for Light, and now he would face her wrath. The energy erupting from her scared even Garu. He tried to remind himself she was just an inferior human, but her gaze chilled him. His instinct screamed he would die if he fought. Before May could finish them, Light's voice came from a dark corner, telling May to calm down as he would deal with Garu himself. Garu refused to believe the voice, but Light revealed himself, greeting Garu like a long-lost friend and stating he was there to pay him back for 3 years ago. Garu laughed, regaining confidence, and mocked Light, saying a level 15 human could do nothing against a level 150 raid boss like him. He boasted he would kill Light with his own hands now. Light sighed, asking if Garu wasn't curious about who May was or how strong she was. Garu admitted he didn't know her strength but was sure puny humans could never compare to beast folk. He boasted all his cronies were above level 130 and would steamroll them. He gave a command to attack. 2 underlings dashed at Light. In the blink of an eye, May appeared, and their heads fell from their bodies. She warned that anyone who threatened Light would lose their head. Light told her to back off and simply block the exits, as he wanted to have fun too. Garu's men lost morale, but Garu steadied them, calling it a cheap trick. Light asked if Garu still truly believed humans were inferior, and if he had ever considered that humans might be the strongest race. Garu laughed, flexing his level. Light replied that level was just a number, unrelated to true strength. Having heard enough, Garu and his cronies lunged. To their surprise, Light stood still before exploding into a counterattack, blocking and hitting every single one, knocking them down and out of breath. Light walked up to Garu, asking if he still thought humans were weaker. Unable to accept humiliation, Garu pushed through the pain and jumped up, claiming no human could match him. He ripped a magic crystal from his pocket and smashed it, summoning a level 500 wolf familiar. Light asked if that was all he had. Garu thought Light was stunned and scared, telling him to beg for his life. Light simply stood there, telling Garu to attack and promising not to move an inch. Enraged, Garu ordered the beast to fire a concentrated blast that could wipe out a city. As the dust cleared, Garu's jaw dropped. Light stood exactly where he was, without a scratch. Light mocked him for giving his attack a fancy name when it just kicked up dust. Garu was speechless, his cronies wet themselves. Light announced he would now attack. He pulled out a card as if in a game and released a level 9000 ultra-rare card of the primal wolf god, which appeared behind him, shining and translucent, shocking the beast men. Light told the wolf god to kill Garu's familiar. Instead of a blast, the god let out a soft breath. The power within that breath crystallized the wolf and shattered it to pieces before Garu's eyes. As Garu stood helpless, Light claimed he could have dealt with the monster himself. To prove it, he revealed his true level, 9999, the maximum. Garu stammered, saying it was impossible, as humans maxed out at level 100, and Light should have grown physically in 3 years. Light revealed he was using an age ring to halt his growth because he wanted to remember himself and the day he was betrayed. Garu realized he was done for, with zero chance against the monstrosity Light had become. In cowardice, Garu threw down his weapons, apologizing and claiming the Federation forced him to betray Light. He said even today he had no intention to harm anyone and that his cronies made the plan and dragged him in. His underlings couldn't believe their leader's cowardice. Garu bowed, begged for forgiveness, and even offered to be Light's personal pet. Light didn't care. He simply asked what a maestro was and why the government was so hell-bent on finding one. Garu honestly replied he had no idea who it was, the government just said it would probably be a human. Light asked why they decided to kill him once they thought he wasn't the maestro. Garu immediately bowed again, claiming he had no idea, they just got the order. Light turned to the cronies and asked if they had any information. To save their skins, they all claimed they did. May used a special eye to see through their lies and cut them to pieces, spilling blood everywhere as she declared that anyone who lied before Light would die by her hand. Light turned back to Garu, asking if he had any chance of winning if he waged war on the surface. Garu honestly replied Light was extremely strong and could take nations alone, but if nations banded together with their collected weapons, he might have a hard time since he was just one man with a maid. Light smiled and said he wanted to show him something. Using teleportation magic, he transported them to his throne room in the abyss. Garu was shocked to the point of mental derangement by the army Light had amassed. The lowest pawn was level 1500, with full level 9099 maids and countless others ranging from level 6000 to 9000. Garu was unable to speak as a tear fell from his face. He realized Light could wipe out the entire planet in the blink of an eye, making him a god, and wondered what would happen once war was waged. A couple of months later, Light emerged from the dungeon abyss with his party to visit his old village, hoping to show his family his strength. When he finally reached it, his joy turned to shock and horror at the sight of total destruction. He ran forward, fell to the ground, hopeless. May and the others soothed him, promising revenge. The only shred of hope was that while searching the rubble, they never found the bodies of his family among the dead villagers. Light clung to the hope they had escaped and were hiding somewhere. A couple of weeks later, Light decided to revisit the village with a calm mind, accompanied by an armored knight named Gold and a grey-haired assassin named Nem. The sight still filled him with dread, but he stayed composed. With his companion's help, he created graves for the dead and placed flowers on them. He concluded the destruction was the work of an adventurer party from another race. As Light was deep in thought, Gold complained they needed to move on to find shelter before nightfall. Nem got mad, saying Light was in mourning and needed time. Gold argued he would go to the ends of the earth for Light but also knew they needed a safe, comfortable place for him to rest. Nem couldn't argue. The little argument lightened Light's mood. He smiled, got up, and told them to chill out, saying he was feeling fine. He said they would find accommodation but first needed more intel. He acknowledged their forces were enough to take on the world but cautioned against an all-out war without proper intelligence. Gold agreed, stating one must know the enemy as well as oneself to win cleanly. Light concurred, saying they should ascertain the strength of all nations first. He also suspected the raid on his village might be connected to him being a potential maestro. The thought that the secret society that once sentenced him to death would go so far enraged him, and he promised to burn the world to uproot all evil. Nem was shocked by Light's emanating aura, but Gold calmed him, telling Light to keep his anger in check to avoid an early massacre. This snapped Light back to reality. He calmed himself and pulled out an ugly, edgy mask. As they prepared to enter a city, they flew towards Doga's. On the way, Nem asked about their plans. Light said they needed to maintain a low profile initially so the concord of tribes wouldn't get suspicious. They needed to register at the Adventurers Guild and increase their party rank as high as possible, as a higher rank would grant them more information from those seeking their help or favor. Gold said the plan was excellent but suggested they walk the rest of the way to avoid sticking out. Light agreed, and they landed to continue on foot. While walking through a forest, they overheard shouts ahead and found a group of dwarfs surrounding a man and his daughter, ready to rob them. The dwarfs noticed Gold's shiny armor and told them to come out. Light finally gave the order to deal with the midgets. Nem made quick work of them, tying them up in shock. As a gesture of thanks, the man, who introduced himself as Colonel, offered them a ride to Doga's. His little daughter was impressed, having never seen a human best a dwarf. Colonel agreed it was rare to find humans that strong. He asked if they were a famous party, and Light honestly said they weren't even registered yet, which shocked the man. Regardless, Colonel told Light he had come to the right place to start a new party, as Doga's was a bustling border city with a huge variety of dungeons and adventurers, resulting in both disputes and trade. He himself ran an inn where all races were treated equally. Light and his party got down at the town entrance and thanked Colonel, who invited them to stay at his inn. Inside the city, they took in the bustling sights of shops selling arms and armor, with forges lighting up the streets. They made their way to the Adventurers Guild, a big hall filled with people around quest boards. Light noticed many human adventurers, but racism still existed as they made way for other races. For now, Light ignored it and headed to the registration desk. They were given F rank. Nem was enraged, telling the woman at the desk to fix her attitude and recheck the rank, as Light deserved S rank at least. The receptionist didn't care and told her to back her smelly human self away and accept the rank given. Before Nem could say more, Light stopped her, apologized to the receptionist, took the F rank graciously, and walked out. Outside, Nem apologized for messing up, but Light told her to calm down and took the party to Colonel's inn. Colonel was happy to see them. Light made an unusual request, to rent the entire upper floor for a month, allowing no one else up there, not even staff. He apologized for the trouble, took out a bag of gold coins as payment, and insisted when Colonel tried to refuse. Colonel finally accepted. Once on the upper floor, Light used magical barriers for privacy, then took off his mask and cloak. Nem suggested again that she and Gold should gather intel instead, as even though Light was strong, they couldn't take too many precautions. This triggered Light, who got up and asked if Nem wanted to deny him his revenge for his family and village. The same aura of death and destruction returned, scaring Nem, who immediately groveled and begged for forgiveness. Light finally calmed down and apologized, knowing she just wanted him safe. The next morning, they got ready for the dungeons. Dressed for the day, they stood in a long line at the dungeon gates. While waiting, 3 hooded figures cut in line in front of a group of young human adventurers. Light knew they belonged to another race. While every other human party was scared, Light spoke up and told the hooded men to get back in line. One turned back in anger and astonishment that a human dared speak to him. Light said if he was from a noble family, he probably didn't want to create a scene. The hooded man seemed to have anger issues and drew his weapon, but another in his party stopped him. They removed themselves from the queue, but the hooded man warned Light it wasn't over. The humans cheered for Light, saying they'd never have the guts to speak up. The young adventurers in front asked why Light's party hadn't brought any supplies, explaining the dungeon was large and could take days to clear. Light thanked them for the advice. Once inside the dungeon, they found themselves in a new world. When sure no one was around, Light used concealment and flight magic to fly through the dungeons unnoticed. Meanwhile, in the jungle, the hooded man removed his cloak, still angry about the humans' disrespect. He took out a huge sword, shouting that his name was Kaido, the youngest elf to join the elite White Knights, with the blood of a master running through him. In his rage, he destroyed a group of orcs. The Dark Elf Yang told him to calm down. Kaido was still mad because his level seemed capped at 1500. Yang said any normal elf capped at 700, but Kaido wasn't satisfied and promised to surpass his cap. Back in the dungeon, Light's party had already cleared the 3rd floor. They collected magic gems as proof and decided to return to the surface, remarking that flying saved immense time. On their way back, they noticed the young adventurers facing goblins. They watched as the kids managed to kill them with good teamwork. Light then descended and killed a bush snake creeping up on their mage girl. He told them to always be aware of their surroundings. The young adventurers thanked him. Suddenly, a pack of wolves emerged from the forest, but instead of attacking, they ran away in fear. Their questions were answered when a huge mantis monster emerged, ready to destroy everything. Light stood between the monster and the young adventurers, who were terrified and trying to formulate an escape plan. The leader, a boy, turned to the pink-haired mage girl, Maya, and shakily told her to use a fireball to distract it. He then pleaded with Light to help them survive by working together to trip the monster and run. Light looked confused and asked if they didn't want to hunt the beast. The boy screamed that of course they didn't, the beast was hunting them. Light asked if it would be fine if he killed it and claimed the loot. The boy thought Light had lost his mind, saying the monster was too strong and they needed to run and alert the guild to seal the dungeon. Light simply smiled, told the boy not to worry, and to back off. He turned to Gold and Nem, who looked eager. Nem claimed it would be a good warm-up, as the mantis was at least level 500. They were about to decide who would go first when Gold cheated and rushed in. The mantis struck with its sides, but Gold blocked with his sword and parried every strike, angering the monster. It smashed the ground, and Gold jumped back, noting its sides were incredibly strong. Nem mocked him for being weak and making excuses. Light decided to go next. He released a fire arrow to card, creating a magic circle that launched a huge fire blast. To their surprise, the mantis deflected it back. Light's party jumped back to dodge the explosion. The young adventurers were shocked by the high-level magic. The boy told Maya to cast an explosion spell to help, but Maya screamed they were completely outmatched, explaining that Light had used high combat class magic without any incantations, which was incredible. Gold heard this and laughed, telling the kids to stay back and enjoy the show, as they needed to learn first. He promised to teach them knightly combat. While talking with his back turned, the mantis attacked. The kids watched in horror, but Gold simply used his shield to block with such precision that it shattered the mantis's side. The mantis screamed in pain. Gold told the kids a well-timed counter with a shield was stronger than a sword attack. He then turned and slashed one of its legs clean off. The kids were stunned. Light decided to show off his skills, using his fire arrow skill again. The mantis swatted it away, but Light controlled the projectile's trajectory, hitting it in the back. He continued firing blasts from all sides, overwhelming the monster. Maya was shocked he could control projectiles at will. Light exploded one of its sides off. Realizing it was outmatched, the mantis tried to run. Light revealed a firewall card, creating a huge wall of flames to block its escape. Maya was again blown away, as tactical class magic also required no incantation from Light. Light and his team walked up to finish it, but the mantis revealed wings and took flight. Light let Nem handle it. She jumped into the air, drew her daggers, and finished the monster with a single, outrageously cool attack, completely destroying it. She landed, pleased, but Gold snapped her back to reality, saying she destroyed all the useful sellable parts just to show off. Nem realized her mistake and apologized to Light. The young adventurer stood stunned, processing that 3 adventurers had defeated a level 500 mantis. They wondered who these people were. Light told Nem not to worry, as they would kill more monsters. One adventurer found the magic gem, the core loot, which cheered Nem up, as it would help them rank up. The boy leader walked up and asked if they were a super famous B, A, or S rank party. Light calmly replied they were new F rank adventurers. This stunned the kids, as even they were higher than F rank. Maya created a water ball so Light's party could clean up. Light thanked them, and the kids said they would have died without him. The boy leader then offered Light's party to spend the night at their camp, as nightfall in the dungeon was dangerous. Maya was itching to talk to Light about magic. Light accepted. At the camp, during dinner, Maya asked Light questions. Light commented that she seemed a good mage herself. Maya refused, saying she couldn't even cast normal combat class magic, let alone without incantations. The other party members didn't understand what was so cool, which enraged Maya. She explained there were 3 advanced classes of magic: combat class, like fire arrow, for single targets; tactical class, like firewall, for huge areas; and strategic class, causing meteors, tsunamis, with global impact, requiring multiple high-class mags. She said advanced magic was normal for races like elves and dragons, but humans lacked the mana. So Light using it was a big deal, but using it without incantations was legendary. Gold and Nem agreed she knew her stuff. The boy leader said Maya was his sister and was really good, which was why she got accepted into the Duchess School of Magic in the Principality of Nine, where all races were claimed to be equal. His eyes saddened as he revealed their parents died in an epidemic, so Maya could never afford to go. That's why he created the party, to raise money to send her. This reminded Light of his own sister, and he told them he was sure they would achieve their goal. They ended the night. The next morning, they returned outside with high-level magic gems, shocking the receptionist and other parties. The receptionist happily gave them cash. As they walked through the market, everyone seemed to recognize them. The story of an F-rank party defeating a level 500 mantis had spread. Suddenly, 2 guys approached, asking if they were the ones who defeated the monster. Nem immediately drew her dagger. The guys backed off, introducing themselves as Suval and Gil. Gil said he didn't really believe the story, resulting in Nem's dagger at his throat as she demanded to know if he was calling Light a liar. Suval told her to calm down, saying they were all rooting for Light as he proved humans shouldn't be taken lightly. Just then, Suval and Gil were called by their party, and they bid Light good luck before leaving. Light's party got in line for the dungeons again, overhearing other races scoffing at the claims about humans defeating a mantis. Once inside, they flew through the skies and noticed Maya's party walking below. Light stopped to talk. Maya shyly gave Light a homemade ointment as a gift for helping them. Light happily accepted and secretly converted a magic card into a bracelet, giving it to her. She promised to treasure it forever. Later that night, while flying, Nem asked why Light gave such a strong item for a useless ointment. Gold laughed at her tiny brain, saying it's the thought that counts, and the bracelet could create small miracles if the user wished hard enough. It could be the difference between life and death for Maya. A few days later, back at the guild, Nem demanded the receptionist promote Light to S rank immediately. The receptionist nervously said it wasn't possible due to the rank system, reminding her they had already made an exception by promoting him to D rank after the mantis kill. Intimidated by Nem's harassment, the receptionist said if Light achieved another big feat, he might earn another promotion. Light liked the idea and decided to go after a rumored adventurer hunter targeting only humans. He discussed it with Gold and Nem at night. They agreed catching the hunter might get a promotion, but they had no clues. As they brainstormed, Light noticed someone approaching. He put his mask on as his friends readied for action. A portal appeared, and to their surprise, Maya dropped out, battered and exhausted. The bracelet Light gave her snapped in half. Light caught her. He put her to bed, where she murmured she needed to tell him everything. He healed her injuries first, then looked into her memories to find out what happened. In her memories, Light saw that yesterday, some adventurers warned Maya's party about the human-targeting adventurer killer. The kids headed for the exit, but by nightfall, they weren't halfway there. Exhausted, the leader debated camping when they saw another party with hidden faces. Maya suggested warning them, and her brother did. Little did they know they were talking to the killers themselves. The Dark Elf Yang started laughing, calling them dumb. The party leader was confused. Then Kaido pulled his sword, announcing they were the adventurer killers and this party was their final target. The kids realized their nightmare. Maya's brother and his friends told her to run while they held the murderers back. They charged Kaido, who took offense at humans fighting him. He slashed the brother first, then took down the other 2 boys with single strikes. Maya was terrified. The boys got back up, told her to run and fulfill her dreams, and charged again. Kaido slashed them down instantly. Maya screamed. Yang lectured Kaido that he needed humans alive for experiments. Kaido replied any insect who dared fight him would be hunted, and said he'd left one alive, Maya. Yang decided to forgive him because human mags were rare. He decided to take Maya, but Kaido wanted to have fun with her first. Yang told him to do as he pleased and walked away. Maya was terrified. Kaido told her she should be happy a future legend like him was willing to use a filthy human. Just then, her brother got up again, telling her to run. Yang was amazed by his tenacity and told Kaido he wanted to preserve the boy for experiments. However, the brother knew his injuries were fatal and had no second thoughts about sacrificing himself. He yelled at Maya to run and live a long life. In desperation, she obeyed. Yang told Kaido to capture her. Kaido got pissed at taking orders but decided to take down the boy first. The boy started murmuring what Gold had said earlier, that battles were about creativity and skill. Kaido watched him mumble, not thinking him worth attention, when suddenly the boy threw his sword at Kaido's face, catching him off guard. Kaido dodged, but it was a setup for the boy to swing his shield and knock Kaido to the ground. Kaido was enraged that a human shattered his pride and immediately sent a spike of white light through the boy's chest. He walked over to finish him, but Yang stepped in, telling Kaido to catch the runaway girl first. Pissed but listening to reason, Kaido chased Maya, quickly blocking her escape with blades of light. He told her to learn how to behave before the wielder of the elves' legendary sword. Maya decided to fight back, not wanting to waste her friend's sacrifice. She shot icicles, which Kaido easily defended. He got pissed as she tried to run and slashed her leg, ensuring she couldn't escape. He said she now had the great opportunity to please a future hero. Maya mocked him, calling him a bully who hurt the weak, and said if she had ever met a hero, it was Light. Her words hit a nerve. Kaido had been called a bully his whole life. He snapped when she called him a spineless loser and sent blades of light to kill her. Maya desperately wished to escape and reach Light. Her bracelet turned the wish into reality, teleporting her to his room at the inn. Now that Light knew the full story, he told Nem and Gold they needed to move immediately. Back in the dungeon, Kaido reached Yang, who was healing Maya's brother, who was still alive. Yang asked about Maya. Kaido said he thought she teleported. Yang lost his cool, asking how a former white knight could lose to a human girl. Kaido angrily said he didn't know she had a teleportation item. Hearing this made Yang panic. He realized if Maya told the guild, the elven country would find out, send the white knights to arrest them, and retrieve the legendary sword Kaido stole. Kaido lost his mind, knowing the white knights' power. Their captain was over level 3000. He stomped the ground in frustration. Yang said it wasn't too late. If he completed his research, Kaido could break his level cap and become stronger than the captain. Kaido got hopeful as Yang said they needed a safe place to start research. Just then, Light arrived, telling them they weren't going anywhere. The elves recognized him from the line and wondered how he appeared so sneakily. Light ignored them, first putting the two dead boys to rest. Gold brought the injured brother to him, saying his wounds were poorly healed. The elves were shocked the boy was taken right under their noses. Light healed him quickly and said neither boy deserved this. They were living honestly to send Maya to the academy. It was too late now. He thought they could have been friends and was furious he lost that chance because of the elves. He swore to punish them. Yang tried to control the situation, claiming they weren't criminals and he had healed the boy after finding him injured. Light revealed Maya had reached him and he knew everything. The two elves panicked. Light assured them he hadn't told the guild yet. Kaido suddenly laughed, saying it was his lucky day. He just needed to finish Light and no one would know. Light grew furious and declared he wouldn't let the guild capture them because they were his prey. He unleashed his murderous intent, saying he would rip them apart bare-handed. He told Nem and Gold to stay out of it, and they obeyed. Light walked toward the elves. Kaido, pissed by his confidence, leaped and swung his sword with full strength. Light effortlessly blocked it with his staff. Kaido was shocked but kept attacking. Light had no trouble blocking. Yang couldn't believe it. Gold and Nem thought Kaido was a weakling who couldn't control his rage. Light got fed up, parried an attack to make Kaido lose balance, then struck him in the chest, forcing the air from his lungs. He mocked the elf, saying he expected better. This frustrated Kaido immensely. He got up and unleashed the full power of his legendary sword, Grandius, sending blades of light enchanted with different elements toward Light. Light easily dodged the first, but an ice crystal appeared where it hit. He realized the blades were enchanted. He dodged more, knowing they weren't strong enough to hurt him even if he stood still. Suddenly, Kaido appeared behind him mid-air and struck with full strength. Light blocked it without problem. Yang was in disbelief. No human should stand against a level 1500 elf, but Light was overpowering him. Kaido accused Light of being a swordsman tricking people by dressing as a mage, calling him a cheater. Light replied he really was a mage. When Kaido didn't believe him, Light simply created hundreds of ice swords in the sky without an incantation. Kaido was intimidated. In desperation, he sent more magic swords. Light precisely countered them with his icicles. Yang couldn't believe his eyes. This was something the most powerful elf mags couldn't accomplish. Kaido kept trying, but Light used icicles as a barrier. Kaido yelled that Light must be cheating, as he couldn't beat the holy sword Grandius, given to an old maestro by the heavens. Light was surprised and asked how Kaido knew that. The arrogant elf laughed, saying he knew because he had the blood of a maestro in him. People called him a sub-maestro. Hearing this, Light immediately changed his plans. This was the first word he'd gotten about the maestro in a while. He told Gold and Nem he had changed his mind. Instead of killing them here, he wanted to capture them and take them to the abyss to extract every grain of information before dealing with them. Kaido still didn't understand how outmatched he was and mocked Light, saying he didn't understand that a sword like his was bestowed upon a hero from the heavens, making him distinct and superior from the beginning. He started spewing racist nonsense, saying even their genes were different. Light didn't care. He turned to Gold and Nem, saying he would deal with Kaido while they captured Yang alive. Both readied their weapons. Yang seemed confident, claiming he was a scientist, not a battle mage, but they were sorely mistaken if they thought they could take him easily. With a snap, two hooded figures emerged from the darkness, forming grotesque chimeras made of human, orc, and troll parts. Yang excitedly explained he had created these hybrids, but they needed multiple humans to stabilize. With this technique, low-level creatures capped at 200 could become as strong as level 500 monsters. Light glimpsed the face on one monstrosity and recognized a man who had congratulated him that morning. This saddened him, but there was nothing he could do. He told Gold and Nem to quickly put them out of their misery and ensure Yang didn't escape. Yang laughed and ordered the monsters to attack. Gold and Nem used a single slash to take them down. Yang smiled, saying his monsters weren't so easily dealt with. Just as he said, they stood back up. Kaido decided to go on the offensive too, shooting light blades at Light, who easily dodged. On the other side, a hybrid attacked Nem, who jumped back and slashed its arms, begging it to go down. Gold laughed, asking where her confidence was. She snapped back that he didn't seem himself either. Gold laughed and said he was just warming up. The other monster attacked Gold, who met it head-on. It dodged at the last moment and counterattacked. Gold blocked with his shield but was pushed back. Yang laughed like a maniac, telling them to surrender, and he'd go easy on them during experiments. Nem was creeped out and asked Gold if they could end the battle now, not wanting to drag it out. Gold agreed, so they decided to use ultimate attacks. Nem's daggers glowed purple, Gold's sword radiated white light. As they readied to strike, Yang was still chill, claiming his hybrids had incredible regenerative abilities. His laughter choked as he realized his monsters weren't regenerating and were burning to ashes after the attack. He rushed to see what was wrong, but Nem quickly dealt with him, ensuring his bloodline ended. Back on the other side, Light used his ice magic to overwhelm Kaido, who stumbled and fell. Light walked up, asking why he was chickening out after starting the fight. This taunt reminded Kaido of Maya's brother, who dared stand up to him. All his hatred returned. He claimed humans were beneath him and should be removed from the planet. He got up and unleashed the true power of Grandius, which extended into the sky like a whip. Light was forced to back off as Kaido swung it. Light realized the sword was enchanted with multiple magics and behaved like a whip. Nem and Gold watched from a distance, calling it an interesting technique from a low-rank peasant but knowing it couldn't hold a candle to Light's power. Kaido grew frustrated, screaming at Light to stop being a coward, as one hit would end his bloodline. Light laughed, saying Kaido overestimated his powers. He dropped to the ground, hands outstretched, daring Kaido to hit him. Enraged, Kaido swung with full strength, hitting Light square on the shoulder with extreme force. To his shock, Light stood without a scratch, smiling and asking if that was his limit. This shorted Kaido's brain. He swung wildly, unable to believe he could be bested while owning the legendary sword. Light quickly ended the charade. He shattered the sword's enchantment and uppercut Kaido in the face, knocking him to the ground blooded. Light stood over him with disgust, saying he would extract all information with any measure necessary and continue until Kaido begged for the sweet release of death. Kaido immediately realized he was done for. His temperament changed, he bowed, begging for mercy, claiming he was from the Elven Queendom and was once next in line to be captain of the White Knights. Light looked down with disgust, asking how he dared call himself a hero when he folded so easily. Real heroes were Maya's party who fought to the end. With that, Light removed his mask and told Kaido that if he managed to scratch him in a fight, he'd let him go. Kaido didn't take the offer and tried to run, unable to believe this was happening. Light wanted to torture him like he had tortured Maya. He used a solar ray to blast through one of Kaido's legs, knocking him to the ground in pain. With both elves bound, Light picked up the fallen members of Maya's party. He said they couldn't be buried in the monster-infested dungeon, so he used teleportation magic to take everyone to the abyss. When the elves opened their eyes, they saw a huge throne room and were completely confused. Light told them they were at the bottommost level of the Doga's dungeon, where he lived. Yang couldn't believe someone could live there, but Nem kicked him into silence. Light's four faithful servants, Mei, Yuki, Ellie, and Naz, immediately arrived, welcoming him and asking who the elves were. Light explained they were scumbags using humans for inhumane experiments, resulting in many deaths for no reason. The atmosphere changed, chills ran down the elves' backs as they felt the dangerous vibes from the four women. Mei asked if Light wanted them to suffer the worst pain imaginable. The others agreed, giving ideas on how to kill them. Light said they were to be kept alive until he extracted all information, after which he would kill them himself. All agreed. Light turned to Gold and Nem, telling them to ensure Maya's brother healed and to make a burial site for the two brave friends. By the time Maya woke up, she found Light sitting beside her at the inn. Confused, she asked what happened. Light told her everything that had occurred, lying that he found her unconscious in the dungeon and took her to safety. Memories flooded back. She quickly looked for her friends and brother, spotting only her brother sleeping peacefully nearby. Light told her he was in a deep healing sleep from severe injuries but would recover completely. The mood darkened as Light finally mentioned he couldn't save her friends. The only thing he recovered was some hair, which he handed to her. She wept over her dead friends but found solace in having her brother to share the burden. The next morning, Light's party went to the guild front desk, where the receptionist promoted him to C rank. Light was confused, as he had lied about capturing the elves, saying they got away. The receptionist told him the information about the two elves was substantial enough for a promotion. Soon after, they met Maya and her brother, who seemed oddly calm for having lost friends in a violent attack. They told Light they were quitting adventuring and returning to their hometown. Light asked why they didn't form a new party. Maya said she couldn't live with the PTSD and needed to leave. Her brother said it would feel wrong to be in a party without their childhood friends, and they wanted to return their friends' remains to their families. Light bid them good luck, promising they would meet again soon. He then told Gold and Nem to hold the fort while he teleported back to the abyss. He was immediately greeted by Mei and Ellie, who offered tea and notes on details extracted from the two elves. Ellie claimed a sub-maestro wasn't a single person but anyone related to the maestro who could gain levels easily. May said every white knight was a sub-maestro, Kaido wasn't special. She also revealed the elves claimed the world would be destroyed if a new maestro wasn't found. This confused Light. It meant their next step was to get the white knights under custody for questioning. Light asked about Kaido and Yang. Ellie showed them in a purgatory realm, being tortured day and night. Light said they had served their purpose and used a special spell card to kill them in the most horrifying way possible. He then turned to Ellie and asked if they were ready for the next part of their plan. Ellie smiled, saying they were ready to capture the White Knight Sasha, the elf who betrayed Light years ago. Light thought about the sweet feeling of finding Sasha begging for her life and got ready to initiate the plan. On the other hand, Sasha was enjoying a date with her fiancé, Mikhail, the vice-captain of the White Knights. They bonded over racism against humans, and Mikhail enjoyed the story of how Sasha fooled and hunted Light. After the date, Sasha headed home, fawning over Mikhail's looks. Her maid said they were the most beautiful couple. Sasha said the wedding was still some time away. The maid warned her not to get complacent and fat. Sasha told the old hag to stop jinxing her. Suddenly, her carriage halted because a human slave collapsed in front. As Sasha scoffed about useless humans, she noticed Light walking into a shady alley. Shocked, she dashed out to prove to herself it wasn't him. She searched the streets, trying to convince herself Light was dead. She reached a dead end and saw no one, thinking it was a trick of her eyes. However, as she turned, she found a note stuck to the wall, waiting at the tower, signed by Light. Sasha freaked out, screaming. When her old maid arrived, she found Sasha on the ground, horrified. Sasha murmured that Light would ruin her life. She had gotten everything after his death, noble adoption and engagement to Mikhail. She feared it would all be taken away. Light watched her panic attack from a distance. Ellie was ready to show the elf she'd messed with the wrong person. Light said he was excited to see how they would torture Sasha. Meanwhile, in the White Knight's training grounds, a pair of twins practiced knife throws on a pitiful human slave, competing to keep him alive longest. Another elf, Char, was molesting his human slave in broad daylight, pissing off the others. Char talked about Kaido, who stole a legendary sword and was exposed as the adventurer hunter. He mocked Kaido and revealed the higher-ups wanted them to clean up his mess, which he didn't want to do. A red-headed elf, Muse, told Char it was their duty as knights to take responsibility for a former member. Char cuddled his slave, saying he didn't want to leave home comfort. Just then, the twins pierced the slave's ear, making him cry. Char got pissed and told them to kill the miserable guy. The twins told him to shut up. Muse told them all to stop, as they were honorable knights. He said humans were weak creatures, fine as pets short-term, but needed a merciful death from a superior species. He lectured about their noble duty. Char and the twins mocked him. Suddenly, the captain ordered everyone to stop. His killing intent was so powerful birds dropped dead above. The elves were terrified. The captain told the twins to stop playing, as it affected battlefield skill. He told Muse to stop being judgmental and told Char to dispose of the pitiful man tied to a tree. Char simply pointed his finger, blasting a hole through the man and the tree. The captain ordered the twins to clean up and Muse to go on his mission. Once they left, Char noticed his human slave was spooked and told her to go to his room. The captain then told Char to reduce affairs with humans, as it wasn't good for their bloodline. He said historically, elves inherited the most maestro blood, and the White Knights were all sub-maestros who had awakened that unique DNA power. Char said there was no need to worry, as everyone in the White Knights had hit their level cap except Muse. The captain said they indeed had something to worry about, it had been thousands of years without a new maestro. He told Char not to do anything to dilute the rare maestro blood. Char replied he didn't plan to, humans were just a hobby. He talked about enjoying how human women got excited an elf was interested and became desperate to keep him happy. He laughed about how desperate they became and said he was getting bored of his current slave and would dispose of her soon, backstabbing them was the best part. The captain was disgusted. He told Char orders about Kaido's mess would come soon, and they'd have to handle it because, no matter how lousy Kaido was, he was one of them. The captain walked away, declaring no one should spoil their queen's name. Later that night, as Sasha slept, she felt the ground rumble. Not far away, Ellie used magic to create a tower. Sasha noticed it and recalled Light's note, wondering if that was the tower. The next day, a slave trader carrying humans ran into a giant rock monster on a trade route. He ran away, leaving his cargo. The humans were left to fend, and soon the entire city faced shortages. Elves in a bar discussed monsters appearing on important delivery routes, cutting supplies. They wondered if the new tower in the forest was connected. Some said the elven queendom lacked manpower to investigate, so the government posted a mission for adventurers to find information about the tower. However, no elf was willing to risk their life for the reward, feeling the tower was too dangerous. Light, Nem, and Gold were among the adventurers. Light was confident completing this task would earn another promotion. Meanwhile, two elf adventurers spotted Nem and couldn't let the chance to bag a tan tomboy shorty get away. They approached, asking her to join their party as they were over level 150, telling her to kiss her loser party goodbye. Nem told them to get lost, as Light was the only master she served. Light also said Nem was irreplaceable and asked them to leave her alone. The elves got pissed a human was telling them what to do. One tried to punch Light, who simply released a thunderbolt spell that hit the ground between them. The elf fell back in shock. Other adventurers started recognizing Light as the masked adventurer who was the talk of the town. They thought Light's party would finish the mission and collect all the reward. Gold said this worked out better than planned, as their fame would spread further. At the same time, a bunch of elves headed toward the tower with a human girl as bait. Two elves were nervous about the risky mission, but their leader said even learning what monsters were around the tower would cover the girl's cost. The girl dropped from exhaustion. The leader told her to get up before he kicked her. Suddenly, he felt something slimy drip on his hand. Looking up, he found the stone monster staring down. He didn't have time to scream before the monster bit him down, and its snake-like tail devoured the other two elves. The human girl was terrified, but the monster just sniffed her and walked away. She was shocked it didn't eat her. Then a gang of delinquents walked toward her, saying they were really lucky today. The girl feared a fate worse than death. The punks threw a healing potion at her, curing her injuries and cleaning her. She was even more confused. The punks divided tasks, getting her shoes, making dinner. Their leader informed Yuki they had rescued another human and would take her to a safe place. Yuki just lazily meowed while sitting on the tower. Ellie came to keep her company, asking if she was fine, as it was her first time out of the abyss controlling so many monsters. Yuki meowed affirmatively. Ellie still felt something might go wrong and wondered if she should issue a warning to those not sensible enough to follow Light's orders. Yuki told her not to bother, their only duty was to do whatever Light said. They shouldn't try to understand him or get too close, their role was to be servants. Ellie asked if Yuki was satisfied being only a pet. Yuki replied she was satisfied, knowing it was her right position, and asked how Ellie thought people like them could get close to their almighty god. Yuki said if Ellie tried to overstep Light's authority, she would kill her right there. Ellie didn't take that sitting down, asking if Yuki really thought she was strong enough. The beast tamer said they could find out by fighting. The air grew tense as both unleashed killing intent. Just then, Yuki got a call from the punks who had brought the girl to the safe house. She returned to her lazy self. Ellie flew away, not intending to restart the fight. Later that night, Sasha stared at Light's crumpled letter. She knew there were monsters over level 1000 around the tower and couldn't get past them alone. However, she couldn't ask the White Knights to escort her, as they'd get suspicious Light was alive. She went mad thinking of a way to reach the tower, swearing she'd finish Light for good this time. Soon after, the Elf Queen called a meeting with top officials to decide about the tower. The Prime Minister suggested immediately dispatching the White Knights to investigate and destroy it, as no one else seemed capable. Captain Hardy asked if the old man had gone senile to suggest that, as they had no information. The other ministers quietly enjoyed the standoff. The Queen stepped in, supporting Hardy's stance and ordering ministers to increase the reward money to motivate people to gather information. Everyone left. When it was Hardy's turn, the Prime Minister called him a lapdog under his breath. Hardy heard but didn't object. He went straight to the Queen's room, thanking her for taking his side. She replied it was what she should do as his mother. They sat for tea. Hardy said the Prime Minister was biding his time to overthrow the monarchy. The Queen wasn't worried about that. She said the bigger threat was the Tower. She thought it signaled the return of the archfiend who once threatened to destroy the world. Whenever the world's greatest enemy appeared, a hero was born by fate, and only a human could be that hero. The Queen didn't want that to happen. The new hero would most certainly be a maestro, and if they didn't win him over or kill him, he would destroy all elves. Light's party went to the base camp where adventurers wanting information about the tower had assembled. The losers from the other day were there, and so was Sasha, who recognized Light's voice. She immediately told him to stop and take off his mask. Seeing Light get alert, Gold and Nem asked what was wrong. He told them the elf girl behind them was Sasha. They were ready to kill her, but Light stopped them. Sasha ordered him to take off his mask again. Light told her he was hiding awful burns behind it. She simply slapped it away. Light turned back to his companions, talking about how his magic had fooled her into thinking he was a burn victim. He thanked Nem for trying to stand up for him, saying it could have been a close call. He thought about how naive he had been not to see through Sasha's deceit before. Nem realized what happened and was about to lash out, but Light stopped her with a single word. Sasha stood there angrily staring. When he removed his cloak from his head, her anger turned to disgust at the sight of a boy with a half-burned face. She immediately pulled back, told him to cover his hideous face before she puked, and walked away, saying she needed eye bleach. Light took the insults, thinking about making her pay in time. He picked up his mask. With that, they made their way into the forest. Light realized they were being followed by the two creepy elves who had wanted Nem before. He told them to back off and leave if they wanted to escape with their lives. The elves didn't give up. Light's party sped up, hoping to lose them, but the stubborn jerks kept up. Light stopped to face them. They panted like dogs, while Light said he didn't want to hurt them. They laughed, saying Light was the one who would die, and getting killed by an elf was a great honor for humans. Light sighed and called one of his servants, Mira, to deal with them. The two elves laughed, thinking Light was bluffing and afraid. Suddenly, the environment changed as a ghoulish figure emerged behind them. The giant woman, Mira, casually devoured both elves with her monstrous arms, bones, and all. Even Nem and Gold felt uneasy at the sight of this ghoul mommy. Mira thanked Light for the opportunity to help. Then Jack, Harley Quinn, and a girl named Suzu arrived, ready to guide him through the forest to the tower. Flying wasn't an option, as other adventurers might spot them. Suzu, the least directionally challenged, took the lead through the confusing maze. Jack and Gold discussed the bro code and how it's always bros before hoes, pissing off all the women, who gave him death stares. Jack doubled down like a true Sigma, while Gold told him to stop as he'd made his point. Jack continued about women wanting equal pay but refusing equal work and ignoring men's working conditions in mines. Light stepped in before it got worse, telling them to calm down and have a civilized debate later. This stopped the fight momentarily, but the vibes were tense. Light changed the topic, asking Harley Quinn about her stupid outfit. She claimed she was learning to be a maid under May and wouldn't take the outfit off until she learned everything about keeping Light happy. Mira laughed, saying the maid outfit was useless in a fight and she should wear appropriate clothes. They bickered while Jack asked Gold if he'd been working out or just sitting on his ass waiting for Light to solve issues. Light realized the mood had changed for the better. They finally entered the tower, where Ellie was worried sick as they were 5 minutes late. She sighed in relief at the sight of Light and rushed down with the furry and the white-haired idiot to greet him. Light was impressed by the huge tower, saying it looked more imposing up close. Ellie thanked him, explaining she had taken every precaution. The tower was now invincible to any attack, magical or physical. Light was surprised by its size. As soon as he entered, a giant red dragon greeted him, which Ellie claimed to have caught and put under a spell. She teleported them all to the top floor, the throne room, where a royal throne awaited. Light walked up the stairs and sat on the throne while everyone knelt in respect. With that done, Ellie asked if she should refresh everyone on Operation Revenge on Sasha. Light gave the go-ahead. She explained Light had decided to congratulate Sasha on her royal marriage with a very cold dish of revenge. Ellie also proposed extra activities for Light's pleasure. Light didn't know about this and asked what she had in mind. Ellie replied that everyone in the Elven Kingdom was proud of the royal White Knights, the strongest pillars of their kingdom, each over level 1500. She proposed a series of battles against them, after which all White Knights would be captured, completely crippling the Elven Kingdom and forcing them to bend the knee. With the Elven Kingdom sorted, they could extract Maestro details, make the tower their base, and move to their next target. She suddenly created a clone of Light, saying while he rested here, this shadow would take on party jobs and continue ranking them up. Light praised her for thinking everything through perfectly, making her smile. She revealed Yuki's beasts were leading Sasha to their tower right now. Back in the forest, Sasha's two adventurer teammates told her they should back off, as the black beasts were above their league. Sasha told them to shut up, as she was paying them to lead her to the tower, not to talk. Light smiled at Ellie, asking if her new pet red dragon would be there to greet Sasha. Ellie smiled back, claiming he would. Once Sasha neared the tower, she nearly wet her pants at the sight of the huge dragon chilling at its base. Now realizing how outmatched she was, she quickly returned to the royal palace. Ellie and the others watched through a magic ball. Everything was going according to plan. Now Sasha would call for the White Knights, who would have no choice but to come to the tower, after which their final plan could start. Just as they thought, Sasha rushed back and demanded an audience with the Queen and her advisors. She told everyone she saw powerful black beasts with snake tails causing monsters to run into town. Moreover, she claimed she saw a ginormous red dragon at the tower's base. Many White Knights laughed, calling it a made-up tale. The Queen was shocked, as this could spell disaster. The nosy old minister turned to Hardy again, asking if even now the leader of the legendary White Knights would hide behind walls while dragons plagued the kingdom. Having heard enough, Hardy stood and claimed he had heard enough. He himself would lead the White Knights into the forest, destroy any monsters, and slay the dragon if it existed. He walked off in a huff. Later that day, Sasha went to the nosy old minister and asked if she could join the White Knight party to see it through. The minister immediately agreed, saying they couldn't let the White Knights have all the credit. The very next day, Hardy led the White Knights into the forest, telling everyone they would follow Sasha. Char looked at Sasha and asked if she was up to the task or would chicken out. Sasha defended herself, saying they could believe in her to guide them safely. Her fiancé, the white-haired Mikhail, told Char that Sasha was level 500 and could handle herself, but he would protect her if needed. Sasha fawned over her silver prince. The twins discussed who was more cringe, Sasha or Mikhail. Sasha led them through the forest, finding her marks from last time. On one, she tripped, only to be caught by Mikhail. Char couldn't deal with the lovey-dovey bull and told them to get a move on. Finally, they reached the tower base. All were shocked by its size. Before they could move, the door opened, and 5 black monsters emerged. Char asked if he should attack, but Hardy told them to hold still, as they needed energy for the dragon. A hired party would distract these monsters. On cue, a blast erupted from the forest, diverting the monsters, giving the White Knights a clear charge inside. They ran through the halls and suddenly stepped on a teleportation trap, immediately separating them into smaller groups all over the tower. Light sat on his throne, waiting for them to make their way up to start the festivities. Mikhail and Sasha were transported together to a basement floor. Mikhail immediately realized it was all a setup, planned beforehand. Sasha asked who could do that. Mikhail said they could only know once they climbed to see who waited at the top. Ellie and Light watched through a crystal ball as Mikhail and Sasha climbed the stairs toward the top floor. Light realized he was incredibly excited for the moment Sasha stepped in and saw his face. Meanwhile, the elf twins Haya and Kia were together on a different floor, in darkness and confused. They wondered if they should regroup. Before deciding, they heard voices behind them. The voices were Mira and Harley, discussing how to deal with these weak-ass elves. Mira suggested Harley sit back while she dealt with both. Harley called her a gluttonous pig, saying they should each get one. The twins couldn't believe anyone made fun of them and took them so lightly. Mira and Harley ignored them, continuing to talk. Harley told Mira not to get overconfident, as even a cornered rat could bite a cat. Mira claimed these lowlifes were more like pesky mosquitoes. She asked if Harley seriously thought these elves could defeat even one of them. Harley replied there was no way in hell these second-rate elves could come close to their level, but they still shouldn't play with their prey too much. This was enough to rile the twins. Within an instant, they rushed Mira and Harley with rage, claiming they were the submaestros of the continent and no being could call them second-rate. Mira and Harley effortlessly dodged and stayed in the air. The twins used their speed, bouncing from pillar to pillar in a blur before appearing behind to chop them down. Even that surprise attack was useless, as the two girls nonchalantly ducked and descended. Mira told Harley these elves were more like flying squirrels than rats, pissing the twins off more. They decided to take the fight directly to their opponents. Meanwhile, Char was alone in darkness on a different floor. He sighed, wondering how he missed the teleportation trap, knowing Hardy would scream at him later. He wasn't as dumb as the others and immediately sensed he wasn't alone. He called his opponent out. His opponent was Suzu. One look at her got him riled up, and he immediately started hitting on her. Suzu had a knee-jerk reflex to the creep. Char asked her name, claiming he was ready to be her knight in shining armor. Suzu was even more turned off. Finally, her gun spoke up, telling Char to keep it in his pants and explaining Suzu didn't talk. Char's mind was distracted by the intelligent weapon. The gun told him not to worry about remembering their name, as he wouldn't need it because they would soon destroy him and everything he held dear. Char's head dropped, annoyed he missed the trap and now had to fight a hottie for no reason. He gave it one more try, telling Suzu they could put fighting on hold and get to know each other. The gun said Suzu wasn't interested, as he wasn't her type. Char, without shame, asked her type so he could become it. Suzu told the gun her type was short kings with black hair and a receding hairline. The gun immediately realized she was describing Light and told her the ship had sailed, as Light had too many girls, she'd have to wait her turn. This made her angry, and she started smacking the gun into a pillar while the gun begged her to stop. Char had seen enough. He claimed he would have rather taken her as a personal plaything, but it was okay, he'd get what he wanted one way or another. He quickly pointed his arm up, using an invisible crossbow to shoot at Suzu. To his surprise, Suzu sensed the invisible bolt, dodged it, and shot a bullet of her own, which Char quickly deflected. He was impressed. The gun praised Char as well, saying very few could deflect her bullet. Char smiled, preparing another bolt, realizing this would be more fun than he thought. Back on the upper floor, the twins kept bouncing among pillars, using a wind cutter ability. The girls dodged easily but realized they couldn't let their guard down and should deal with them quickly. The twins spammed their ability. Harley said they couldn't keep this up for long. The twins replied they could do it for hours without breaking a sweat, which could be annoying. Soon, the twins changed strategy. They moved to a pillar and used an advanced version of wind cutter, creating thousands of tiny blades flying at Mira and Harley. This was harder to dodge. While they were busy dodging, Kia threw a dagger that stabbed Mira in the stomach, and Haya slashed her arm clean off. They dropped down, laughing that soon every limb would be on the floor. To their surprise, the girls weren't bothered. Mira asked Harley if she got an idea of how strong they were. Harley replied they were even weaker than she imagined. This pissed the twins off, who screamed they were winning. To their horror, Mira grabbed her fallen arm and ate it right in front of them. This scared the twins, who had no idea how that was possible. Mira decided to show something better. She ripped her own head off and threw it around like a ball. The twins were horrified and asked who the hell she was. Mira finally introduced herself and Harley as two ultra-rare level 77-77 cards. The twins were stunned, refusing to believe such a thing existed, and immediately attacked again. This time, the girls didn't even block, claiming it wasn't worth the effort. This really scared the twins, and they started running. Mira laughed like a maniac. Harley decided to end this, charging a powerful heat blast while Mira covered herself with a shield. Meanwhile, on the lower floor, Char was constantly on the offensive, sending bolts at Suzu, controlling their trajectory, and using barrages, hoping it would work. To his surprise, Suzu got out without a scratch, exciting him more. He told Suzu to leave the loser light and become his girlfriend. That got Suzu mad. She started glowing with anger, ready to kill the annoying elf. Back on the upper floor, the elves hit a dead end and tried to find the exit along the boundary. Before they could, they felt the floor getting hotter. To their horror, a wave of heat hit as Harley shot her heat blast. The twins realized they would burn to a crisp. They quickly chanted spells, creating a huge ice wall to protect themselves. To their surprise, it melted immediately, forcing them to recreate it. They kept creating ice walls but soon ran out of mana, and their armor started melting in the intense heat. Soon, they were completely consumed by the heat, disappearing from sight. Only then did Harley stop. She realized she might have accidentally killed them, but Light wanted them alive. Thankfully, Mira told her Ellie used protective enchantment so they wouldn't die, otherwise, they'd be charred to a crisp. The twins lay on the ground, burned and defeated, begging for mercy. Mira told them they would get the same mercy they gave humans and used her tentacles to incapacitate them, as Light wanted to extract information before making them feel devastating pain. Back at the lower floor, Char finally realized what he had done when Suzu shot bullets into the air and blasted them all toward him. Char ran for his life, trying to dodge. He realized he was outmatched. He turned to block with his own bolts, but it was no use. A barrage hit him all over, leaving him bloodied and near death. Char begged for help, but only an enraged Suzu stood above him. She wasn't done and started smashing his face with her boot, telling him to die. She would have killed him if not for the gun talking sense into her, reminding her Light wanted to know their full potential first before capture. Suzu immediately realized her mistake and tried to heal Char so he could fight again. The gun told her to let it go, as he was too beaten up. She started crying at her mistake while the gun said Light wouldn't get mad at an honest mistake. Meanwhile, on a different floor, Jack found Muse alone with his axe. Jack honestly said he was supposed to fight him but suggested Muse surrender, as it wasn't in his nature to pick on weaklings. Muse got annoyed but kept control, claiming Jack should be honored to die at the hands of a level 1500+ elf. Jack said not to worry, as he himself was a level 77-77 ultra-rare card. Muse didn't believe it, telling Jack to throw in a believable bluff. Jack smiled, telling him to use his appraisal skill to verify. He noticed a look in Muse's eyes and mocked him, asking if he even had the skill. Muse got mad, claiming he didn't need to check a fraud idiot, and lunged with his axe, trying to end it quick. To his surprise, Jack swatted it away like a fly. Muse was beyond shocked but thought it was beginner's luck and tried a barrage of hits. Jack easily deflected all attacks, which confused Jack, as these attacks should have given even Captain Hardy trouble. Jack simply used his fingers to blast Muse into the wall. Muse came out shocked to his core but refused to believe a human could be that strong. He started spouting nonsense about humans being beneath them and deserving a fate worse than death. With that, he brought down his halberd, a magical weapon, and activated it. Jack realized the halberd was eating at the boy's soul and life for power. Muse didn't seem to care. He shouted at the halberd to take as much as it wanted but give him the power to defeat this human. With every bit of power he could muster, he lunged at Jack, who simply used his iron armor skill, blocking the attack with his arm. His body covered with a thick iron shield, and with a single punch, he sent Muse flying into the wall, bloodied and unconscious. Jack walked over, picked him up, and wondered if he'd killed him. Thanks to Ellie's magic, he was still alive. On the upper floor, the last and final member of the White Knights, Captain Hardy, remained. He finally came in contact with Naz, who smiled, took out her sword, and hoped for a good fight. That's the end of the story. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this.